Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. This is Church and World News. Have some news updates to share with you. We have this follow-up article from Church News talking about President Nelson's invitation to youth and young adults to enroll in seminary and institute. Have a few things I want to share out of this. We're going to look at the Iceland volcano. There's some developments in Israel. I have a crazy video out of the Dominican Republic that I want to show you with the flooding that's been going on there. And then we're going to talk about Armenia and Azerbaijan because there may be a new war on the horizon. So let's go ahead and start with Church News. What an increase in institute enrollment says about the strength of the rising generation. Again, it's really interesting, just all this focus on the rising generation, and it is so much more than it has been in times past. I can tell you that with authority because I've researched it. There has been an increase. And it's not just from, leaders of the church talking about it, but it's kind of spilled over into church news and other things having to do with the church. There's a lot of focus on the rising generation. Now we covered this in the last video, but President Russell M. Nelson recently issued special invitations to youth and young adults throughout the church. In 2 videos released globally, the prophet promises a long list of accompanying blessings, which Newbold, she's an institute teacher, keeps posted on her office wall. The promised blessings include deepened conversion to Jesus Christ, feeling more of Heavenly Father's great love, more opportunities for faithful friends, and a sense of belonging and feeling more joy right now. And during at least one of those videos, he brought up the Lord's Youth Battalion again. That's his concept that he started back in 2018 during the Hope of Israel Worldwide Youth Devotional, and he's serious about it. And it goes along with enrolling in seminary and institute. His invitation, attend seminary and institute. There's Newbold right there. Okay, this generation of Latter-day Saint young adults. National media have featured news about the declining spirituality of today's young adults, colloquially known as Generation Z. The Deseret News reported last year that Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 aren't going to church in numbers like their grandparents and great-grandparents did, and the numbers seem to decline every year. End quote. A poll conducted by Deseret News and Marist poll found that only 21% of young adults report going to church once or twice a month. And slightly more than a quarter of those young adults say they pray daily, compared to nearly 70% of Americans who are 60 or older. Keep in mind, this is not church specific. This is just, nationwide. While a decrease in spirituality and religiosity might be true among young adults in the world, there's a bifurcation among them and the young adults of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, noted Keith Burkhart, Director of Strategy and Audience Support for Seminaries and Institutes of Religion. Over the last 2 years, institute enrollment has grown by over 57,000 students. Between the ages of 18 and 30, 95% of church-attending young adults will also attend institute. So that's really good. And I've done videos in the past showing that our church is not really going the way of the world. In fact, if anything, the youth are becoming more religious. And this is something that we seem to be seeing in the Jewish world as well, especially in Israel, that the youth are becoming more religious. So it's a really interesting phenomenon. In the Worldwide Devotional for Young Adults on Sunday, November 19th, which I didn't know about this. And by the way, I'm going to skim through this. If you watch this, let me know if you picked out anything interesting. Put it in the comments below. Here is a YouTube video if you want to watch this. I had no idea that this took place, so maybe you might want to watch that. I may do that myself. But anyway, Elder Quentin L. Cook of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles reported that youth and young adults are not less active or leaving the church in higher numbers than in the past, as some have speculated. Quote, "The number of missionaries called to serve has significantly increased. The percentage of church participation for the rising generation," there's that phrase again, "shows a continuous upward trend. Moreover, the number of young adults attending institute has also been increasing," he noted. So this is really exciting. It leaves you with the impression, or at least it does me, that something's going on, that President Nelson, identifying this generation, this rising generation, it really is the rising generation. And when I say that, I think it's the generation of the second coming. You know, the last ones that are up to bat, in his baseball analogy, and the transition team between the pre-millennial world and the pre-second coming world and post-second coming world, the millennium. So these are exciting things to talk about. Okay, Words Newbold. She's that Lori Newbold. There she is right there, Institute teacher. Words Newbold used to describe today's young adult Latter-day Saints included, quote unquote, extremely resilient, hungry for the gospel and real practical application, unafraid of people's weaknesses and mistakes, and seekers of truth. Most importantly, they love Jesus Christ, Newbold said. They want to follow Jesus Christ, and they are figuring out how to have a relationship with him, come to know him and his goodness. It's so sweet to be part of. End quote. Anyone who doubts the spirituality and capability of today's young adults in the church should spend 5 minutes in one of her classes, Newbold said. They teach me things out of the scriptures I've never seen before. As he's attended Institute classes around the world, from Utah to Africa to the Philippines, Burkhart said two things usually happen. First, I almost fall out of my chair because of their amazing insights. Second, I cry almost every single time. Now that's really neat. I wish that's something that I could witness myself. I have not really done anything with the youth since my early marriage. I was secretary in the young men's presidency back when they had those. But I don't know. I do get a good impression of most of the youth that I come across, though. I don't know about you guys. Put it in the comments below what you think about today's youth. All right, continuing. In 2018, President Russell M. Nelson told the youth that they have the capacity to be smarter and wiser than any previous generation. And that's from the Hope of Israel Worldwide Youth Devotional that I was talking about earlier. That really was like a landmark devotional. It was not just like, it was not in the same class as some of these other ones, like this one right here that we were just talking about that took place on the 19th. Not that it's not important, but the Hope of Israel in 2018 stands apart. Quote, I interact with young adults every day and believe every word that every word that the God of heaven is saying about his young adults, Newbold said. They are exactly who he says they are, and he is fulfilling the promises he has made to them through his prophet. I think that might be it for this article. So I don't know, just more stuff to say about the rising generation. Okay, let's go to Iceland and let's talk about this volcano. In case this is new to you, we're talking about this location here in Iceland, and I have a place mark here with a little yellow man, which indicates that this entire town has been evacuated because they're concerned about the volcano. And the name of the town is Grindavik. We've looked at videos before how like the roads are cracking, there's steam coming up through those cracks, and they're waiting for this thing to go off. And there's a lot of attention being given to this volcano. Okay, Iceland Volcano live. Eruption could happen with just 30 minutes warning as magma very close to surface. So it still has not erupted as of right now at the time that I'm recording this, just a little bit after noon on the 21st of November. Authorities fear the Iceland volcano could erupt with just 30 minutes notice as the country's meteorological office, IMO, warned magma may have reached very high up in the Earth's crust. Kristen Jonsdottir, head of department at the Icelandic Meteorological Office, said people will, quote, just have to wait in suspense for the next few days, end quote, to see how events play out. And, well, it seems like it's been like that for a while now. I don't know when this all started, but it seems like it's been like about a week or so. Here, let me consult my Google Earth place mark. So this evacuation, according to this news article right here, abcnewsgo.com, was on the 10th of November, and today is the 21st. So these people have already been waiting in suspense for a while, and there's just been all this, okay, we're going to have to wait a few more days. It could happen anytime, and it still hasn't happened. I think that it will, but it's a really sucky situation. She said the decreasing earthquake activity over the last 24 hours could be a sign that magma has reached very close to the Earth's surface, adding that the scenario is not unlike what was seen prior to a previous eruption in 2021. Okay, so this is the last 24 hours, so maybe it is that time. Authorities fear they could get as little as 30 minutes notice before the anticipated volcanic eruption. Quote, all the big signs are already there. So we are looking for the small signs, the signs that say that even though we are monitoring very closely. What? That say that even though we are monitoring very closely. Okay. Vidir Reinison, Chief of Civil Protection, added. So we'll just have to keep our eyes on that. I don't know how significant of an eruption it's going to be. I'm not even sure why there's so much attention placed on this. It's not a super volcano that I can tell. No one has said that it's a super volcano or that it's even really too much out of the ordinary. I don't know, but I guess we'll wait and see. Okay, let's go to Israel. Okay, so there's developments here. Israel-Hamas hostage deal nearly complete. Women, children to be released. So you may recall that there's been this, okay, the way that the war started was Hamas infiltrating or crossing over into Israel, killing random people, everyone that they came across, but they selected some people to take hostage and bring back to Gaza. And the numbers were somewhere like up in the 200s. Some of them have been released already, but there's still many more that are still there. So this is the story today. Israel agrees to Sinwar demand. Halt UAV intel for 6 hours a day for hostage release. And here he is. Here's Sinwar. He looks like a scary guy. Israel has agreed to a condition laid out by Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar to halt Israeli UAVs in the Gaza airspace for 6 hours on each day of the ceasefire in exchange for the release of some of the hostages under Hamas's captivity, according to a Tuesday report by Walla. The deal for the hostages release that will be submitted to the government for approval includes the release of 50 Israeli children and women during a 4-day ceasefire. It includes the possibility of it being extended if Hamas locates additional women and children, with 10 freed for each additional day of the ceasefire. It is estimated that the total of those freed may reach 70 to 80 women and children if Hamas does locate the hostages, as they claim they do not know some of their locations. And that would be very disheartening for me if it was my wife or child or my family. Some guys have had both their wives and children taken hostage together. So for them to say that they don't know where they all are, that's not good. All right, let's move on. The deal to release the hostages has the support of the IDF, Shin Bet, and the Mossad, and includes the release of about 140 security prisoners from Israeli prisons. So again, it's like one of these like really lopsided deals that they've done in the past, where they release a few Israeli hostages and then Israel releases a bunch of their people. According to the official, Israel insisted that prisoners convicted of murder not be included in the list of those released. The outline also states that during the days of the ceasefire, Israel will allow more fuel to be brought into the Gaza Strip. However, the official made it clear that this is a relief that will only last during the ceasefire. I've seen some other news stories talking about the fact that some people in Israel, like the people that are more hawkish, are not happy about this exchange because it's like dealing with terrorists and giving into their demands and stuff like that. So there's some controversy over this. I don't know what the right answer is. I have no idea. Um, that's what's terrible about terrorism and in dealing with these people is it's not like dealing with rational people. You know, it encourages them to do more in the future because they know that this works. You know, so it's being stuck in between a rock and a hard place. But I am really happy for those that are gonna get their wives and their women and their children back. That is something to be applauded. So, all right, let's move on to the next thing. IDF encircles Hamas stronghold of Jabalia in preparation for next stage of war. So this is the first time that I've seen anything about like the next stage. The stage that we were waiting for before was the actual ground invasion itself, and maybe after that the capture and clearing of the Al-Shifa hospital. That's like the main command center for Hamas. But I guess that they're looking at this as the next stage, Jabalia. So where's that at? Okay, let's go to the Institute for the Study of War. Here you have Gaza City. Here's Al-Shifa Hospital. They've already captured it, and it seems to me, from what I've seen, they've already like cleared it. So now, and then we had noted that it looks like they had made some advances toward the city center of Gaza City, because you can see the blue areas right here. But they're saying that the next phase is Jabalia, which is this other sizable city north of Gaza City. And you can see it is pretty well surrounded. Maybe this advancement right here isn't so much concerned with Gaza City. Maybe it has to do with surrounding Jabalia. So let's go ahead and let's read what it says here. The Israeli army said Tuesday that its forces have completed the encirclement of the city of Jabalia and are ready to deepen the fighting as they sought to take control of one of the last major Hamas strongholds in the northern Gaza Strip. Okay, one of the last major Hamas strongholds. I don't know if one of the last ones also includes Gaza City itself or some other location, but okay. One of the last major strongholds in northern Gaza. And like I've said before, I've heard that once they're done in the north, they are going to go south for anybody that's part of Hamas that is in the south. All right. Describing the battles that were being spearheaded by the Israel Defense Forces, 162nd Division, the army said that it first hit Jabalia with heavy artillery and airstrikes to, quote-unquote, prepare the ground for battle. So they are doing the initial work right now, I guess, to get ready and go in with ground forces. All right. Let's move on from there. I had to show this. So this is in the Dominican Republic. I had talked about this in the last episode, but this one was really crazy. You have this guy on top of the car, and then you have the car soup going on. We've only seen this a couple times where you have like a bunch of cars that like clump together like this. One time was with this in the Dominican Republic. The other time was in Italy. Maybe there was another time too in France. I can't remember. But this was. Is there somebody in that car? No. But this one is particularly a hairy situation. I'm wondering like how he got caught in that situation. Did the flash flooding like happen that fast? Like where, because like it looks like there's like a wall over there. What was he doing? Or was he like in his car and he got caught and he got out of the car and I don't know. But just look at all those cars. That truck right there has its headlights on, so Somebody was operating that at the time that it got caught in this flood. Well, there's a guy over there getting on top of that car. I didn't see him before. So, oh, I didn't even notice that girl. Man, there's a lot going on in this video. So this is the result of, I think the article had said that there was like a tropical depression that had moved through here, and it affected Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. These are all areas that saw flash flooding like what you're seeing right there. Again, this month is not as bad as September. September, we were seeing these kind of scenes every single day. Like literally, it was almost every single day in September. It's kind of quieted down, but it is still happening. So, okay, let's move on from there. I got this comment from Bridget Ellers. What is going on in Armenia? I didn't know what she was talking about, so I decided to look it up. And this is the news story today. Azerbaijan says France laying ground for new regional war by arming Armenia. Now, who knows if that's actually true? But what's going on with this? What's going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan? I didn't even know about this conflict. It's called the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Okay, so let me give you the brief overview. Okay, so here you see Armenia, and then over here is Azerbaijan. And in between the two is the disputed area of what the locals call Artza, the Republic of Artza. So this is essentially what used to be a part of Azerbaijan that was taken by force by the people of Artza, and Artza is supported by Armenia. Okay, that's the crux of it. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of what's been going on. So the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is an ethnic and territorial conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh. So I'm guessing that's what Azerbaijan calls that location. But like I said, they refer to themselves as the Republic of Artza. Okay? Inhabited by mostly ethnic Armenians until 2023, and 7 surrounding districts inhabited mostly by Azerbaijanis until their expulsion during the 1990s. The Nagorno-Karabakh region has been entirely claimed by and partially controlled by the breakaway Republic of Artsakh, but is recognized internationally as part of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan gradually reestablished control over Nagorno-Karabakh region and the 7 surrounding districts since 2020. So people or different countries throughout the world didn't really recognize them being their own country. And Azerbaijan has slowly kind of like regained control of Artsakh. All right, continuing. The conflict escalated. So it talks about, so it talks about what things were like during the Soviet period. Okay, there started to be this like division. And then conflict escalated into a full-scale war in the early 1990s, following the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The war was won by Artsakh and Armenia and led to occupation of regions around Soviet-era Nagorno-Karabakh. There were expulsions of ethnic Armenians from Azerbaijan and ethnic Azerbaijanis from Armenia and the Armenian-controlled areas. So basically, they kicked each other out of these territories. In 1993, the United Nations Security Council adopted 4 resolutions that supported territorial integrity of Azerbaijan and demanded the immediate withdrawal of Armenian forces from all Azerbaijani territories. The ceasefire ending the war, signed in 1994 in Bishkek, was followed by 2 decades of relative stability, which significantly deteriorated in the 2010s. A 4-day escalation in April 2016 resulted in hundreds of casualties, but only minor changes to the front line. Okay, so what's going on now? In late 2020, the large-scale Second Nagorno-Karabakh War, in 2020, that was just 3 years ago, resulted in thousands of casualties and a significant Azerbaijani victory. An armistice was established by a tripartite ceasefire agreement on November 10th, resulting in Azerbaijan regaining all the occupied territories surrounding Nagorno-Karabakh, as well as capturing 1/3 of Nagorno-Karabakh itself. Ceasefire violations in Nagorno-Karabakh and on the Armenian-Azerbaijani border continued following the 2020 war. Azerbaijan began blockading Artza in December 2022 and launched a large-scale military offensive in September 2023. Okay, so that was just a couple months ago, resulting in the surrender of the Artsakh authorities. Artsakh is set to dissolve by the 1st of January 2024. Okay, so you get all that. So basically, from their point of view, they became a nation back in the 90s. But then there was a second war where Azerbaijan won. They took 1/3 of the territory, and then what did it say? It said that there's been like ongoing disputes, and the most recent one, they captured the authorities. That was just 2 months ago. A large-scale military offensive in September of this year, they captured the authorities of Artsakh. And so now Artsakh is scheduled to be dissolved by the beginning of the year. Okay, so what's the news? Well, the news is that France is going to be giving weapons to Armenia, and Azerbaijan is worried that, basically France is going to support Armenia in maybe taking back Artsakh. Well, not taking it back, but helping Artsakh become a country again, or whatever the case may be. So I guess we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. But I wasn't really too keen on this conflict at all. Here's another view of it. So Azerbaijan, Armenia, and then Artsakh would have been, or I guess is until the end of the year, like right here. And they were doing a siege or like a blockade, like it said. There's this, from what I read, the one road out of Artsakh to like the outside world somehow, maybe because of all these mountains, came through here, through Laken or Laken. And there was like a blockade that took place. So I don't know I guess that maybe helped things for Azerbaijan. But anyway, that was going on. So I don't know. And it seems like maybe this is kind of like another, not so much like a proxy war, or maybe you could call it a proxy war, but part of this like bigger conflict going on throughout the world, where you have the one axis, which is Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. They would seem to be on the side of Azerbaijan, and then the West on the side of Armenia and Artsakh. It's stuff like this that just, it really makes it feel like there really has been this global conflict going on, especially since the beginning of this millennium, where you've had all these like skirmishes, asymmetric warfare, color revolutions, and all these different things. And this seems to be just another part of that really big conflict. Is that right? I don't know, but we'll have to keep our eyes on this part of the world and see if a new war takes place. All right, well, that's going to be it for this one. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.